algo útil para crear conocimiento en general. Es un pensamiento de abertura de datos, un poco como al contrario que se hablaba aquí, que cada persona quiere guardar sus datos. No, es el opuesto. Está ubicado en Londres, pero, por ejemplo, Michael vive en Viena de Austria y trabaja remotamente. Y ahora están... ¿Escuela de datos?
I tried to do this a little bit, yeah. Okay. So I work with the School of Data, and we do trainings worldwide. We have a lot of materials on the internet, also the stuff I'm going to talk about today. And so you can go back and read this, and I also have a document written about what I intended to do, and it turns out I can't. Okay. And right now we're trying to find, or we're building an international network. We already have partners in Mexico doing Escuela de Datos, so doing the Spanish version of the School of Data, and we are trying to build an international network of people who are in local communities. You have to tell me if I talk too much and you can't remember what I say anymore.
No, that's right.
And we try to find people who are locally to organize workshops and to help people in their local communities.
Entonces, el proyecto que Miguel está ahora, Miguelito, está haciendo es School of Data, que traducido es Escuela de Datos, y ahora están empezando con los periodistas de México abriendo ese sitio para hacer en español, Escuela de Datos, y intentan tener un representante, un mentor en cada sitio del mundo. Entonces hacen Skypes y entrenan a las personas cómo hacer scrapping, cómo entrenar personas para poder ser entrenadores de periodistas, de personas que trabajan con datos. Entonces, quien se anima a ser mentor, por favor, al final pueden hablar con Miguel, con Michael, y que
Miguel works fine.
Y que él les puede contar un poco más cómo involucrarse, pero aquí en el sitio hay toda una información. Y ahora, you're going to do the site in Spanish, or there is already a site in Spanish?
There is a Spanish site, it's called Escuela de Datos.
Hay una versión de... la entrada, entonces no pueden demostrarlo acá, pero ya tiene un plan B.
So for this workshop, I didn't prepare slides, so this is the first presentation, or the first thing up here without slides. I prepared a long written document of what I plan to do with you. This is the URL. I think Mariana can post it to the notes.
No, but
not
our
right now.
chica poderosa, Karen, puede poner este URL en las chicas poderosas Twitter. Michael estaba diciendo que no preparó slides porque es un workshop, y entonces tiene este documento que les va a compartir con todos, con toda la información de todo que se va a hacer, para que vosotros en casa después o cuando estén solos puedan revisar todos los puntitos y hacerlos solos.
So as long as this URL shortener works and Google Docs is there, this instructions will be there, and you can go in and read what I've been doing
Entonces,
in this workshop.
Si quieren sacar este material, van a este URL y tienen acceso a este Google Doc y lo pueden bajar para tenerlos en sus compus.
And actually, this is the Spanish site. This is Escuela de Datos.
Esta es la versión española de Escuela de Datos.
And as Mariana mentioned, I had planned to do something very different with the Senate. I had intended to get the names and addresses of the government, of the members of the Senate. But for some reason, the Senate thinks this university is evil, and so they don't let me access their website.
Miguelito quería hacer un scrapping del sitio del Senado, sacando las personas y sus direcciones, pero el sitio piensa que veniendo de esta universidad, porque venimos desde URL, piensa que queremos atacarlo, entonces nos bloqueó la entrada y no se puede hacer.
It wasn't me.
Él dice que no fue él. Yo pienso que quizás tienen esas protecciones no solamente con la universidad, pero maybe it's a bit broader for everybody, right?
Yeah. So I'm going to use two different sites, but first let's talk a little bit about what we're going to do. Oh, yes. Perfect. I love this. Let's talk a bit, what does it mean to scrape data from the web? Nowadays, hardly ever people sit down and write web pages by hand. Some of you might do this, but most of the websites out there, especially the ones containing a lot of data, are generated by the computer out of a database.
Okay. O que significa hacer scraping de datos? Normalmente las personas, y quizás algunos de vosotros, hacen el sitio hecho a la mano, poniendo la información y los datos a la mano, cosas bien personalizadas. Pero hay otros sitios que están hechos totalmente con bases de datos.
And we can use this to convert the data that's on the website back to a useful database or a spreadsheet we can easily work with. If it's just on the website, we can easily work with it. But if we convert it back into a spreadsheet or convert it back into a database, we can start working efficiently with it and doing our analysis and doing custom visualizations and so on with it.
Lo que el scraping te permite hacer es llegar a un sitio y sacar la información y los datos que quieras y ponerlos en una tabla. Y puedes elegir qué tipo de datos quieres para después poder analizarlos, trabajarlos y mirar las modas que una visualización de datos te puede dar después de tener la tabla completa.
And we can only do this because HTML is actually, or websites are actually structured information. So we turn structured information from one kind of structure into another kind of structure.
Isto es posible porque el HTML es una estructura que está organizada por pequeñitos blocos de estructuras y nosotros podemos llegar y decir yo quiero este bloco acá y este acá y crear nuestra propia estructura como nos interesa para entender los datos.
And to do this, we need to know a little bit about how websites are built. I don't know how many people of you already built their own websites.
¿Cuántos han construido su propio sitio internet?
Oh, that's quite a bit. So you're going to know the first thing I'm going to show you.
Entonces van a entender la primera cosa que les voy a mostrar.
So the first thing we're going to do is, so this is one of the websites. This is one of the tables we want to extract.
Esta es una de las tabelas que queremos extraer.
This is the list of presidents of the Chamber of Representatives in Colombia.
La lista de presidentes de la Casa de Comercio.
No.
Cámara de Representantes, gracias.
No
sé si necesitan que yo esté acá. ¿Alguien necesita? Yo puedo quitarme. Sí, okay.
And what we want to do, if I want to extract data from a website, the first thing I always do is I poke around in how this website is constructed to understand how the website is built and where the data is.
Cuando yo quiero sacar información de la internet, yo voy ahí mirando cómo la internet está hecha, cómo la página está hecha, para entender qué partecitas me van a interesar.
So I can paste this to the document so people who are in the document can actually see this.
Voy a postar el link para vosotros tener acceso a este sitio también. No funciona. Cariña triste.
Yeah, I think you don't have to translate smileys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look under the hood of the website. I'm going to look at how the code for the website is written.
Vai a mirar cómo el código de este sitio está hecho. Vai como hacer así y mirar abajo.
So I open this page in Chrome.
Abrió en Chrome, Google Chrome.
And
does it just work in Chrome?
This works in Firefox as well, in Internet Explorer probably as well. But I use Chrome because it's a nice browser for development and it has very good tools built into it.
Miguel dice que se puede usar Firefox y quizás AE, pero es mejor este porque tiene algunos plugins y algunas herramientas ya desarrolladas que son muy útiles y que te permiten facilitar tu trabajo mucho mejor.
And later on we're going to use an extension that's specific to Firefox.
En un ratito vamos a usar una extensión específica de Firefox.
No, Chrome.
De Chrome, perdón.
You have to correct me if I make mistakes.
Just following you.
Okay. I expect you to think.
Okay, I'll think from now.
So what I do is I right-click on any place in the document, and I go to the very, very least entry in the menu again that says Inspect Element.
Pueden clicar con el botón derecho del mouse en una parte cualquier que quieren saber de esta información en específico.
And I go with the, I think it's
clican,
Inspectar Elemento or something like this.
Inspeccionar elemento.
Inspeccionar, sí.
Inspeccionar elemento.
So I click there, and what happens is I get this window on the bottom.
Aquí abajo se mira esta ventanita con código.
And I make this a little bigger so you can... Sí. So I make this a little bigger so you can probably read it in the back. Can you read this in the back?
Se pueden leer ahí atrás, ¿no?
No?
Hay muchas sillas aquí adelante. Vengan. Maybe make it...
I can make it much bigger than this because then I don't have any space. So you see this, there's a lot of junk in here. So if you see this the first time, this looks very intimidating.
Puede parecer muy ¿cómo se dice? Intimidante mirar tanto código, gracias. Pero no es así tan difícil, se va a entender ahora.
We can actually do crowdsourced translation.
Exactly.
I just speak and then the crowd sort of speaks what you think I'm saying. Does this work?
Yeah.
No? So this is what the computer sees if the computer goes to a website. The computer doesn't see this nice page, the computer sees this code.
Cuando hay una página de internet, lo que lo computador mira es este código. Después lo traduce en el browser, esta cosa más así más bonita y arreglada, pero lo que lo computador mira es el código.
And the people who already constructed websites are very familiar with this. This is called HTML or hypertext markup language.
Se llama HTML o hipertexto, y para quien ya ha hecho páginas ya lo conoce seguramente.
And you see that there's a lot of text, and it's always with this pointy brackets.
Siempre tiene estas setitas, no sé cómo se llaman. Estas V's. Marcas, estas marcas siempre.
And you see that there is a pointy text, a pointy marker, and then there's some text, and then there's some other things, and then there's a pointy marker closed. So this is what we call an HTML tag.
Es una tag de HTML que abre y cierra un grupito.
And what this does is to tell the computer what kind of element you want this to be.
Esto es lo que dice al computador qué tipo de elementos tú quieres.
If we, for example, look at the table down here, we see that the table actually starts with this tag, where my mouse is right now.
Se ponen su mouse encima de la palabrita table class, él va a seleccionar toda la tabla.
So you can see if I hover around with my mouse here, there's actually a blue square on the top.
Se mueven su mouse, pueden ver que los rectángulos azul va a seleccionar la cosita que están seleccionando en código, se va a reflectir en la tabla.
You talk much more than I say. I didn't say yet that this corresponds to the downside.
Sorry. You told me to think. You told me to think.
Okay. I don't complain about this anymore. So I can go around and inspect this page and look at different elements in the page and figure out what corresponds to what.
Yo puedo mirar la página y mirar mientras el texto de abajo, el código HTML y la página, puedo hacer una relación y mirar cuando estoy haciendo hover qué cosita estoy a seleccionar.
And you can see that this table, for example, is a proper table because it starts with a declaration that this is a table.
Y se puede ver que es una tabla porque está diciendo abriendo y cerrando tabla. Entonces es seguramente una tabla.
This sounds like much a rose is a rose is a rose is a rose, but this is actually poetry. Do you realize this? Once we know this is a proper table, we can look around and we see that the table has rows. There are these TR tags, and that in these TR tags we have the different cells in each column in these TD tags, and you can see that there is, for example, the content of this one and the content of this one. So you can see this very nicely how this corresponds to each other. All we need to know in the beginning is this is a proper table. And Mariana didn't pay attention.
I just been interrupted because si hay alguien que tiene las cositas de traducción, Brian, you have your translation. The man is upstairs waiting to take it home. So for those who have, if you can give it back. Para las personas que tienen los traductores, si lo pueden devolver, por favor, que nos están esperando para llevar. Mañana por la mañana tendremos otra vez traducción oficial, pero quien tiene, Daniel estaba pidiendo que el señor está arriba esperando. Mientras, I can translate, I understand, I'm multitasking.
Okay, this is perfect.
Yes. Entonces, cuando llegas a la conclusión que es una tabla y tienes dentro de la tabla cada línea de la tabla. Exacto. Y dentro de las líneas, row es una línea. Esto está todo en inglés. Table row, TR. Y después, dentro de la table row, dentro de la lineacita, tienes el contenido. ¿Qué es table qué? Data. Table data. Los datos que están dentro de la línea. Entonces es agrupado como las muñequitas rusas, que tienen una muñequita y otra y otra y otra. Así es el código HTML.
So once I know this is a proper table, I can go ahead and extract this very, very easily.
Cuando ya entendí que esta es una tabla de verdad, puedo sacarla muy fácil.
And I'm going to show you two ways to extract this table out of this website.
Les voy a enseñar dos formas de sacar la tabla de la internet.
And the first one, for the first one, I will use Google Docs.
Para lo primero vamos a usar Google Docs.
And I'm opening my Google Doc account, and you see I'm doing a lot of stuff with this.
Está trabajando mucho, es un chico que se esfuerza mucho, tiene muchos documentos.
And what I want to do is I want to create an empty spreadsheet.
Quiere crear un documento limpio, sin nada.
But a spreadsheet. How do you say spreadsheet?
Tabla de datos, pero sin datos. Una tabla limpia. Nueva. Gracias.
And what I'm going to do to get the content of this website into the spreadsheet is I'm going to use a special formula. Who of you is familiar with formulas in spreadsheet?
¿Quién está acostumbrado con fórmulas? Mucha gente, lots of people.
Yes, for those who are not familiar with formulas, formulas are basically ways I can do calculations in a spreadsheet.
Para quien no sabe lo que son las fórmulas, son formas de hacer cálculos dentro de una tabla de datos.
Or not only calculations, but also other functions.
No solamente cálculos, pero otras funciones también.
For example, I can, if I have two numbers here, 1 and 2,
Si tengo dos números, 1 y 2,
I can sum them up with a formula that's called sum.
puedo sumarlos con una fórmula que se llama sum.
And I mark the 2 and I say, okay, form the sum of these, and it will calculate the result for me.
Entonces la columna C es la junción de columna 1 y 2. Bueno, se entiende, ¿no?
And if I update one of the cells,
Si él hace un update de una de las células, va a cambiar la cifra final.
and for simple calculations like this is actually not very, very fancy.
Para un cálculo tan simple, esto no es así tan sexy.
But you can do much more with it. And I'm going to use a special formula that's only available in Google Spreadsheets today.
Y él va a usar una mucho más chévere que solo hay en Google Docs.
And this formula is called import HTML.
Se llama importar HTML.
So if I start typing this, you see the help for this function.
Si empiezan a typear, bueno, no es importa HTML, es en inglés, importa HTML, y después tienen una tabla de ayuda que les sale cuando hacen este.
And so import HTML tells me it imports something from a website, because we know websites are written in HTML.
Esta función va a llamar lo código que está hecho en HTML porque sabemos que los sitios de internet son hechos por HTML, entonces.
And it asks for 3 parameters. I can see this in the help. The first one is the URL, the second the query, and the third an index.
Esta función va a necesitar 3 parámetros: el URL, query,
The query,
El query, la cuestión que vosotros... The question or... La cuestión que vosotros quieren... ¿Perdón?
Query. Yeah,
query.
let's call it query. And
y el index, okay.
And so we all know what URLs is. URL is basically an internet address, right?
URL es una dirección de internet.
So I go to my website and I copy the internet
Copiamos
address.
el URL del sitio que queremos scrapear.
And I put it as a first argument.
Ponemos como primer argumento.
And I put it in parentheses because I don't want the computer to change anything here.
Y ponemos entre paréntesis porque no queremos que el computador lo cambie.
And so this is the first.
No, quote marks.
In quotes.
Quote marks.
Yeah, in quotes. Sorry. You all have to correct me if I'm
Yes.
wrong. I slept very little. So. And then I put a comma to start the next command.
Después pone una vírgula, una coma.
Una coma.
Vírgula es portugués. Una coma para el próximo.
Why do you have crazy words like virgula?
No, because I'm Portuguese.
No, but I mean in Portuguese.
Yes.
Isn't comma sort of international for this thing?
No. Sorry. You put the Portuguese girl translating Austriac. Crazy.
So you put the comma there. If you work with a Spanish version of Google Spreadsheets, some of you might work with Spanish versions because you use the comma to separate the decimal numbers.
Se trabajan con texto en español, por veces usan la coma para separar números decimales.
So you need to use a different character here, and the character you use is the punto coma.
Entonces tienen de usar aquí punto coma porque para la computadora que está acostumbrada a... ¿Se llama punto coma o no?
Sí, se llama punto coma. I did enough workshops like this to know that this is punto coma.
En español punto coma. Okay.
What's the Portuguese one?
Punto y vírgula.
What's the Virgo? Virgo is a
Virgula
virgin,
is the
no?
comma. No.
That's a virgin.
Virgem. Virgem, vírgula. Different.
It's the same root. So I put the comma. Let's go back and track and not start with semantics about languages. And the second thing you remember from when I entered this formula is it wants a query.
Quiere el query ahora.
And the query, basically, we need to tell the computer what kind of element we want to extract out of the page.
Tenemos de decir al computador qué tipo de elemento específico queremos sacarlo.
And in our case, we want to extract a table.
En este caso queremos sacar la tabla.
And this is very much, again, rows is a rows is a rows. Because we want to extract a table, we put table. And I also put this in quotes.
Ponemos dentro de marcas table, porque es lo que queremos sacar y ya sabemos que se llama table, la tabla. Entonces,
and unfortunately, the poetry is lost in translation. You're having fun there. This is great.
¿Una pregunta?
Yes. Please, at any time, if you have questions, ask and interrupt me.
Esta es una pregunta porque estoy confundida. ¿Por qué hicieron tanta anotación sobre el punto y coma si solo hay coma? O no. O sea, en español uso punto y coma.
It depends on the version, on the language version of your spreadsheet. So I use an English spreadsheet, so I can put the comma. If I put the punto comma, it thinks I'm crazy. But if you use the Spanish version of Google Spreadsheets, most likely your Google Spreadsheets will be in Spanish.
Okay.
You will have to use the punto coma.
Entonces, si tienes su Google en español, versión española, tienen de usar punto coma. Si tienen la versión americana o inglesa, o quizás all European, maybe?
No. At least the German has a punto coma as well, because
Okay.
Germans do the same.
Ok, la versión inglesa es con coma y después las otras hay que arreglar, pero la española es punto coma.
Yes, please, at any time if you have questions,
Por favor, cualquier
Just-
pregunta.
make yourself known and interrupt me, so that I can hopefully take you with me on this journey. The last parameter we need to enter is the index.
El último parámetro es el index.
So here I tell the computer which table I want to extract. If there is, for example, 2 tables or 3 tables in the website, I need to tell it which of the 3 tables I want to extract.
Okay, si el sitio tiene varias tablas, tenemos de decirle específicamente qué tablas queremos sacarla.
And how do we know the index?
¿Cómo sabes qué index vas a tener?
So I could go back and look at the whole page and count tables.
Yo puedo ir a la página y contar todas las tablas,
But what I do, because I'm lazy and I don't want to count, I put a 1.
pero lo que yo hago, que soy muy perezoso, es...
Okay. Is this a whole sentence? And I close the parentheses. I tell it, take the first one and just show me what's the first one. And I
Entonces-
press enter.
Pediu la primera tabla.
And I'm lucky,
Y tuve mucha suerte,
because the first one is the right one.
porque la primera era la buena.
If something else comes up than what I want to have out of the page, I simply go back, edit the formula, and put a 2, put a 3, put a 4, until I get the table I want.
Si desafortunadamente escribes una tabla que no es la que querías, vas otra vez a editar esta primera cosita que hicimos aquí en el inicio. ¿Cómo se llama? What's the name of the thingy?
The formula?
Yes. Vais a la fórmula y cambias 1 por 2, o entonces 3, y vas experimentando hasta que te quede la tabla que tú quieres.
Very good. In this case, we don't have to do it because the first table that comes out is the right one.
En este caso, tivemos suerte, tenemos la tabla que queremos.
So if you've done this and you've seen this, this is one of the easiest ways to get a table out of the website.
Esta es una de las formas más fáciles de sacar una tabla de la internet.
I am now going to show you the second way to get this table.
Ahora voy a enseñarles la segunda forma de hacerlo.
And for the second way, we use a special extension for Chrome.
Para la segunda, vamos a usar una extensión especial para Chrome.
And this extension is called the Scraper extension.
Esta extensión se llama Scraper Extension. Was this the one you showed me?
This is the one I showed you.
Mira, este es un espectáculo. Háganla, es muy poderosa.
And the easiest way to get this is to search for Scraper extension Chrome on Google.
Pueden hacer una búsqueda en Google y les aparece.
And
Scraper
then
Extension.
you get this first link of the Chrome Web Store.
Tienen este link de Chrome Store, Web Store,
And if you open this,
y se abren.
it takes a while.
Toma un poquito de tiempo.
And you go to the get to overview page.
Van a la página que le explica un poco cómo es la aplicación.
And if you have never done this before, this button up right is going to be blue and it will say something like add to Chrome.
Si nunca usaron Google Extensions, este botón va a estar azul porque no tienen la extensión, pero como you have the extension,
I have the extension,
por
so
eso
it's
está
green.
verde, pero si no tienen, vosotros deberéis tenerlo en azul, a decir algo como añadir o
Añadir, sí. And if you click there, it will ask you whether you really want to add this to Chrome.
Se clican ahí, te preguntan, ¿de verdad que quieres esta extensión?
And if you say yes,
Se dice
or
sí.
no, I think you need to say añadir or add,
Ok, añadir o add.
it will add the extension to
Te
Chrome.
va a añadir la extensión.
This is magic, no?
Woo!
So let's go back to the website. The first thing you want to do if you change this, I'll make the website a little bigger as well, is you want to reload your website. So I'll do this.
Para usar esta extensión tienen de hacer un reload del sitio web para que se cargue totalmente.
And the way the Scraper extension works is that I can go and mark a certain section of the website, for example, one row of the table.
Puedo marcar una línea de la tabla que quiero
Not only for tables, for general stuff on
para
websites.
cualquier contenido en el sitio web
And I can right-click,
y clico con el botón derecho
and then I have a new menu
y tengo un nuevo menú
that you didn't have before,
que no tenías antes,
and it's called Scrape Similar.
que se llama Scrape Similar.
This means take information that looks similar to the stuff I marked.
Que significa, sácame toda la información que sea parecida con esto.
And if I click there,
Y si yo clico ahí,
I get a new window.
tengo una nueva ventana.
And I'll make this a little bigger as well. And this new window is the scraper console.
Esta nueva ventana se llama Scraper Consola de Scraping. Scraper Console.
And on the right side, this is what I want you to pay attention right now. I have an overview of the table as the scraper extension would extract it.
A la derecha tengo la forma como el scraper, la extensión scraper iba a sacar la información que queremos.
And this looks great. This looks exactly like the table we want, simply because this is a very simple table. We mark the right amount of things. It interpreted our request right, and now I stop talking.
Sorry. Esta tabla parece muy buena, es exactamente lo que queremos porque marcamos exactamente las cosas que deberíamos haber marcado y entonces nos sacó exactamente la información que queríamos y es una tabla bien simple también.
And you see some stuff on the left. Don't worry about this right now. I'm going to show you how to deal with this later.
Con estas cosas que están aquí a la izquierda no les molesta porque él les va a explicar en un rato.
The one thing we want to do if we like the result that is there is click this button on the bottom that says export to Google Docs.
Si nos gusta esta tabla podemos directamente exportarlo a Google Doc por este botoncito aquí.
And if I click this, this takes a while.
Si yo clico aquí, tarda un poquito.
And I hope the internet doesn't... Something happened. Do I still have internet connection? See, yes, I still have internet connection.
Do you want to explain what happened?
For some reason. No, I don't need to press scrape. I just once if the stuff on the right side is correct, I can just press on export to Google Docs.
Si la tabla está correcta, directamente pueden presionar exportar. No.
And if you do this the first time, you have to, it will open a window in Google Docs and ask you to allow the scraper extension to access your Google Docs account and write to your document.
Si es la primera vez que están haciendo esto, va a haber una ventana que les pregunta si pueden permitir que el scraper funcione. Entonces tienen que decir sí.
And if this works nice, you end up with a table like this.
Okay, si funciona bien. Sí. Go back.
To where?
Before, when you were aquí? Sí.
Yes. So the only thing I do is I click the export to Google Docs button.
Abajo a la derecha tienes un botón que se llama Export Google Docs. Ahí. ¿Lo encontraste?
And if you click there, it will probably, because you've never done this before, open a window to ask you to authenticate this or allow scraper extension to write to your Google Docs. If you say yes, I allow you to write, it will create a spreadsheet with the contents in there.
Si lo permites, te crea directamente un Google Doc con ese spreadsheet.
You're trying this?
¿Estás intentando?
¿Se funciona?
Perfecto.
Muy bien. So this is another way to get stuff out of the website. But as you have seen, for simple tables, we don't need to use a fancy tool like this.
Pero como pueden ver, esta es la segunda forma de hacerlo, pero para una tabla tan simple no necesitamos hacer tantas cosas.
But let's look at a different example.
Pero miremos otro ejemplo.
Yesterday night, when I was really tired and wanted to go to sleep,
quería ir a dormir.
Mariana took me to her bedroom.
Mariana me llevó a su cuarto.
And the story is less romantic than you imagine right now.
Y no es así tan romántico, porque le pedí que me scrapease los datos.
Come on, you spoiled. And she shows me the website of the people who attend and said, I need an attendee list for tomorrow so people can check whether people actually registered.
Sí, yo necesitaba sacar todas las personas que se registraron para hacer una tabla para las chicas de check-in, les pueden hacer check-in. Lo último evento de chicas tivemos 100 personas, yo hice copy-paste 1 a 1, me tardó 3 horas, porque no sabía hacerlo. Entonces, como tengo un genio acá...
And I say, okay, This is not so hard to do. I can show you how to do this.
Ele disse assim, Mariana, Peanuts, é tão fácil, te lo hago.
This sounds so different from you. And so the scraper extension is not only great for extracting tables, but also extract any kind of thing that occurs regularly in a web page.
La extensión de Scrapper no es solamente buena. Hola Felipe. Ok, ya les perdón.
Hola. ¿Qué tal?
No es solamente buena para sacar tablas, también es buena para sacar cualquier tipo de información que quieran. En este caso es los attendees, el nombre y quizás su link de meetup page y qué informaciones nosotros queríamos.
You actually had a description there. I don't have the description.
Where?
On the meetup page. Remember? Doesn't matter. We want to get the list of names, and we want to get the link that's associated with it to the member page on Meetup for this member.
Lo que queríamos es cada elemento cada uno de vosotros y el link que vos conecta al Meetup de chicas para sabermos cuando queremos hablar con vosotros quién sois y cuál es vuestra conexión.
And we have this list of people right here.
Tenemos aquí una lista de personas a la derecha.
And let's scrape this.
Vamos a scrapearlo.
So what I do is the names, and because this was a link we marked, you also have a list of the links associated to the name.
Entonces, el nombre de Daniel tenía un link añadido que cuando haces scraping del nombre te trae el nombre y el URL y lo pone en columnas distintas. ¿Usted quiere hacer una pregunta?
Yes.
What's the difference if I have XPath or jQuery or in the selector?
Here, this is basically the query language. This is something you can use to extract complicated things and formulate how the computer finds the information you want to have. And there are two ways of doing this. The one is the jQuery-like way with CSS selectors. I don't know, did you work with jQuery? So you know the jQuery language. Un chiquito. Yeah. So you basically can use the same selectors you use in jQuery or you use in CSS to select single elements. You can, for example, say, give me the element with the ID with this name, and then all the elements with this tag below it. You can do the same with a language called XPath. This is basically for doing the same thing. If you look at this XPath expression, and this is a good example, we wanted to look at this, is that you see here, sorry, I'm babbling away.
Okay, I'm just going to be a short version. Puedes usar jQuery o XPath y la lenguaje en que vais a pedir la información va a ser un poquito distinta y él va a explicar.
I can go there, but my arms don't reach up there, so there's no point. Otherwise, unless someone has a really, really long stick. But you can see up here in the XPath, you can see that there's this diff, and then there's a 1, and there's this UL, and there's LI, and there's this other diff, and there's this H5, and there's this A. And if we go back to the website, let's go back to the website, and basically look at this element. Remember how we did this before? We see that this actually corresponds to this, right? We have a diff, and above the diff we have an LI, then we have a UL, and then we have the H5, and in the H5 we have an A. So basically what this does is just tell this is the wrong window. Tell the computer how to go down in this document and search until you have the right kind of information.
Y no sé si aquí en España hay, en español hay esta cosa de dejar migallitas. No sé si se llama, pero es, ¿sí? Entonces es como es dejar las migallitas, lo pan, no sé, para explicar cuál es el camino.
What's the migaritas?
It says breadcrumbs, like breadcrumbs, telling you the path.
Ah, yeah. And then you get eaten by a witch.
No. So, así, ¿qué haces?
Isn't this some old fairy tale, no? With the breadcrumbs
Yes,
and the birds
yes.
eat the breadcrumbs. It's the same concept. She's perfectly right.
So, así hacen lo caminito hasta donde quieren llegar para sacar la información que les interesa.
How is this fairy tale called in Spanish? Do you know this? Hanseliger. This is boring. It's the same. Hänsel und Gretel.
Ooh.
It's the same thing. So it's basically to put the breadcrumbs or the stones to mark the path for the computer, how to walk down this document to find the right kind of information.
Okay, básicamente estamos a decir a la compu cómo queremos que llegue pedacito por pedacito hasta que llegue a la información que queremos.
And in the end, it basically says just take the text from there.
En el final dice, saca solamente el texto de allá.
And then it has this thing, say, add href.
Y el otro dice, saca también el href.
And you notice the at in front of this. This is very different to all the others. This is because this is an attribute of the tag. So if we look at here, we see that this is the a tag, and the href attribute, so that's inside the document, is actually the link where the link points to.
Este href es para sacar el link que está dentro del nom.
So let's say we want to get some more things, because
Imagina que queremos más cosas.
so, let's, for example, we have this event host thing here.
Aquí tenemos este event host.
Do you see this?
Podemos con botón derecho mirarlo y ver en el código qué significa.
So we have the people who are event hosts are specially marked.
Las personas que son organizadores de eventos tienen una marca especial.
Now, I want to get this information out as well.
También quiero sacar estas informaciones.
And I cannot do this very easily because this has found something very, very different.
Pero no lo logré porque mi tabla acá está muy distinta.
So what I do is I start editing my href.
Entonces voy a editar mi
Or no, my XPath. Sorry,
Perdón.
I'm confused. I start editing my XPath expression.
Voy a editar la expresión de XPath.
So I know that the H5 that contains the name is on the same level as the H6 that contains the role.
Okay, yo sé que el H5 está dentro del mismo grupo del H6.
So what I do is I remove the H5 /A from here.
Voy a sacarlo H5 y guión A.
So if I do this, this will look like this.
You just edit it and then it updates automatically?
This, yes, I edit, I press enter, it updates automatically.
Cuando editan el texto, hacen enter y él va a renovar la página.
And then I can tell the different columns I want for the information below.
Después puedes decirle qué tipo de columnas de información quiero en mi tabla.
For example, for the first one, I really want to have this H5. So I really want to have the name. And I put this extension to how I proceed from where I'm up top to the information down here.
Yo quiero mucho la H5, que es el link.
Yeah, or the name.
Es el nombre.
So I can call it number.
Okay. Yo quiero el nombre.
And if I do this, I end up with just the names here.
Así si hago esto, solo me quedan los nombres de las tablas.
You see that this column still remains empty because we're not at the right level, right? We're at the level of the diff here and not at the level of the A-link. So we need to add the h5/a here as well.
También tenemos de editar la parte de URL para quedar completa y nos añadir ahí a nuestra tabla.
And then we want to have an additional column, and I put an additional column by clicking on the small plus.
Puedo añadir las columnas que quiero constante la información que quiero. Entonces tienes este botoncito verde que es con más, con plus.
And I say I want to have the h6 in there.
Y también quiero tener el H6.
And this is probably the role.
Y que se va a llamar el role.
And then I press enter.
Y press enter y tienes ahí el role.
Yeah, and I get the role.
Y tienes el role.
And I get event host, organizer, event host. I don't get event host for you. And yeah, that's very nice. But I saw when I just did this before, I saw some people are checked in. See this? Where is this? Who's checked in? Here. This guy, for example, that says checked in. I don't know what this means.
Este chico es a check-in. No sabemos lo que significa.
Does this mean, who is this?
¿Quién es este?
Is this person here?
Está acá, esta chica.
Did you check in on Foursquare? How did you check in here?
¿Cómo lo chequeaste? ¿En Foursquare o hiciste en Meetup page alguna cosa a decir que estás acá?
She doesn't know. Okay.
She doesn't remember.
We don't know. But I can look at...
Pardon? For the mobile application.
The mobile app knows you're here. Perfect. So if I want to know this, I can actually look at this, and I see that there's a special tag called span that has the check-in information.
Hay una clase especial que se llama span y que tiene información de checking.
So let's add this to our...
Vamos a añadirla a nuestra tabla.
And I simply write... get me the
Punto
span
guión
element.
span, que es la cosita que queremos, y podemos llamarle status. Y hace enter, checked in.
And then I can see who here used the mobile application to come here.
Y se puede ver quién utilizó la aplicación móvil para hacer check-in.
Actually, it's only 3 people.
Solamente 3.
And once I'm done defining which part of the website and which information of the website I want to get out, I simply, as before, click on Export to Google Docs.
Así que tengo la tabla que quiero, hago export para Google Docs.
And it should export, and I have a spreadsheet with the
Tienes un
information.
spreadsheet.
And I make this bigger.
Can you extract the description of each person?
I don't see the description. See, this is the thing. I think I only see the description if I also signed up. Where is this? Mozilla Hackathon? Yes, here we have descriptions.
Ya tenemos 120, yes!
So yeah, the question was whether I can extract this description of the person. Is this right?
La pregunta era, ¿cómo podemos scrapear la información de cada persona?
Yes, let's do this.
Vamos a hacerlo.
For this, I'm going to start again.
Así voy a empezar de nuevo, seleccionando lo que quiero.
And I go say script similar.
Y scrapear similar con el botón derecho.
And I go back here. And I look at this again. Right?
Voy de nuevo y voy a mirar esta información.
So our, I close this. It's confusing. Our XPath actually takes me up to here.
Nuestro XPath nos lleva hasta acá.
And we know that H5 contains the name plus the link.
Sabemos que el H5 es el nombre más el link.
So let's add this here. Right?
Vamos a añadirlo a nuestra tabla. Aquí yo pienso que, si no me equivoco, es para organizar la tabla, porque ahí tenemos la información toda de una y queremos compartirla en partes.
Exactly. So if I had this removed as before, you see everything that's within this one element comes out in the side of the table.
Si no ponemos nada acá, está todo en una línea de texto.
You see this? It says Mariana Santos, organizer, event host, Mariana Santos is more. And I don't want to have this in one block. I want to have this nicely separated by name, link for the name, description, and role, and so on.
Queremos nome, lo que es y su biografía.
So I'm going to separate this apart. The first thing is I'm going to take out the name, which I know is in the H5A, right? If I go back here, I go H5. Let me go here. If I go on here, if I go on H5, let's remove this. If I go on H5, you see that only the name lights up, right?
Si clican en hacen hover en H5, pueden mirar que solamente el nombre aparece.
So I know the
seleccionado.
name is in here, and I know the name is in here with the A, right?
Sabemos que el nombre está ahí.
So I can write this going down from there to get names out.
Entonces puedo escribir acá hasta llegar al A, que es hasta donde quiero, que es el nombre.
Then I want to get the link,
Después añadir con el botoncito verde,
which is basically the href attribute of the same.
y es lo mismo, pero queremos llegar hasta href para
So
tener el
this thing that comes, you see this in green here, that comes after the tag name, all the green things that say some word equals are attributes of this element.
green, but there is red, so right? It's red, no? Okay, in your computer maybe it's green. Pero lo que está rojo, que en su compu está
No,
verde.
this is red. I'm sorry about the confusion of colors. I get a color weakness.
Ah, okay. Okay, las rojas. Allá,
Yeah.
allá está red, no?
Wait, they really look green to me. I'm sorry about this. I rarely use syntax highlighting when I do programming because I can't tell stuff apart. So the red things are the attributes. These are basically, I can say an attribute is an attribute. It's basically descriptions of the element.
Okay, son las descripciones del elemento que quieren sacar.
So here it says a class, and here it says href, and the href is always the link. And I can sort of get every attribute by simply appending an at, and then so I can get the link.
Entonces, en la izquierda se escribe las migallitas de pan hasta llegar al sitio que queremos. Y a la derecha se escribe el nombre de la columna que queremos, como nombre, URL, etc.
And then let's get the description
Y
out.
queremos la descripción de cada uno, ¿no? Era la pregunta.
And I see that the description is within another div, and then there is this p tag.
La descripción está dentro de un div con un atributo de P.
So p is for paragraph.
P para parágrafo.
And I go there and I just say this and say description.
Entonces hace lo mismo, está dentro de un div y un parágrafo y se llama description. Añadir, no sé cómo se dice, te pone ahí una columna extra que se llama description.
And then we can do, for example, the role again, which is
Puedes hacer el
F6.
role otra vez.
This
Ya
doesn't
sabemos
work.
que H6.
And our table keeps on growing.
Y bueno, y puedes hacer crecer la tabla lo más que quieras hasta donde quieras la información.
So like this, I can get any element that's sort of within this list out. So anything that's mentioned in the page, with this I can start to get this information out.
Entonces con esto puedes sacar toda la información de la página que te interesa.
And
Can you extract pictures?
you can usually extract pictures. For this website, extracting the pictures is very, very complicated, and I show you why.
Es muy difícil extraer fotos porque
Usually pictures in reasonable websites, I need one with a picture. What do we're with journalists here, so we take a journalist. For example, if we have a picture in the Wikipedia page, this picture, if we look at this, this is usually a element called IMG, and the link to the image is called SRC. And
la imagen se llama IMG y el link se llama SRC.
So I could get this very easily with XPath.
Yo puedo sacarlo muy fácilmente con XPath.
This is actually a good exercise to do.
Es muy buen ejercicio.
If we look at these pictures here,
Si miramos esta foto,
we see that they are exactly the same.
vemos que es exactamente lo mismo.
Why was I in the impression they're not the same? But we see that they are slightly differently located. So we have our LI, then we have an A, and below the A we have an image tag.
Ah.
Do you see this?
Sí.
So we need to go change this a little bit
Necesitamos de cambiar nuestro XPath.
and say div.
5 minutes.
Yeah, I'm going to be done in 5 minutes.
Matthew, are you ready?
And I'm going to say, and then I'm going to look at how this is related to the LI, which is the document. So it's LI, A, and then IMG. So I'm going to say A, IMG, because I have my LI already up there. And then I'm going to say SRC, and this is the image URL. Let's see, will this work? Yes. But I get something completely stupid. I get a blank GIF, because where the image actually is in here. I get this, which is not the real image URL. It's something that I don't know why it's there. So if I want to get the real image URL, what I need to extract is the style attribute of the link. So I can go here and say, and then I have the image URL in this long thing. And let's try to get this out. What I do now is, because I can't get further with XPath, I go to and export this as a spreadsheet. And I make all my stuff a little bigger. And you see that now I have the URL, and the image URL is in this column, and it's sort of hidden in with a lot of text, right? So what I can do is I'll add a new column on the right side, and I'll say image clean. And I try to replace everything I don't need. So I don't need, oh no, there's a substitute. I don't need anything that says, of this, that says display block background image URL this. This is basically stuff I'm not interested in. This is all the stuff that comes before the image URL. And if I do this, I still get the same thing. Let's copy. Let's copy this out exactly as it's here. I mistyped this. Do you see this? I just typed display, not display. You have to be very specific here. So you see this, how I get only the part of the URL, but the URL still ends in parentheses and the semicolon. What I'm going to do is do another substitute and remove the parentheses, semicolon. So this is getting a little more complicated, but I'll end up with a link for this. That's actually the right link for the photo. You could try to use the find and replace tool, which is basically the same as the formula I used. Yeah. You could probably use the find and replace tool. And then I can do something very fancy in Google Spreadsheet, which is, I think I can I have a new formula. And the formula is image. Look at this. And then we can check that this is actually the right image. Yes, more questions.
Hola.
Hola.
Cuando los resultados de la tabla están paginados, están en diferentes páginas, ¿cómo hace uno para extraer toda la información de las diferentes tablas?
This is a very good question. So the question is, I think you understood the question. I'm not going to translate the question. This is one of the things I can show you a little later on. I unfortunately don't have the time to show you this, and I didn't find an example. But if you have paginated results, and the results are all nice links, so you could link to each page separately and open each page separately, you can use the scraper tool to get all the links for all the pages, or get a template for a page, and then use a tool like Refine, which I can introduce later, probably also at the hackathon, to download all these pages. And Refine basically has a way to extract data out of web pages. It's a little bit more complicated than this, but it follows the same principle. So first you download the web page, then you tell Refine, this is the web page, and I'm interested in this element in the web page. So you can say, select this element and give me the contents of this element. So you can do this. It's a little more complicated than this, but it's still feasible without writing major amounts of code. The more complicated your websites get, you want to extract information from, the more likely it is you actually have to learn how to program a little bit and actually do the programming yourself, or find someone to do programming for you.
¿Entendieron, no?
For those who open this document, on the very, very bottom of this document,
En el final del documento del inicio,
we first link to a website. If you're ever stuck with a data project, this is where you can ask for help.
si algún día tienes problemas y estás parado, escríbeles a School of Data.
And then there's this section called Further Reading, which contains all the courses on the School of Data page that relate to scraping.
Si quieren de verdad aprender esto, hay muchos tutoriales en la escuela de datos y tienen aquí los links.
And there's one that says scraping multiple pages with Refine. This is the one you want to look at for getting paginated results.
Ahí está exactamente que responde a tu cuestión.
And then there's a link to a book by Paul Bradshaw called Scraping for Journalists. He basically teaches a lot of these things from very, very simple to more and more complicated in his fantastic ebook.
Quien quiere aprender más tiene ese libro de Paul Bradshaw que te explica desde muy simples cómo aprofundizar los conocimientos para scrapping.
Are there any more questions? ¿Más preguntas? No?
¿No? Okay.
I am around here. If you have complicated websites, you sort of get a headache from trying to get data. Oh, there's more. Simply find me in the corridor and talk to me, and most likely, I will jump on it and try to solve your problem right there.
En mi caso, yo tengo un blog de moda y tengo que estar monitoreando diseñadores de moda latinoamericanos y de otros lados. ¿Con video podría ser algo similar?
I didn't get the end of the question.
Please help me.
With video? So get the videos out? Do you want to get the links for the videos out? So I think if you want to get the links to the videos, yes, you can do this. If you want to get content from the video, you can't. Getting content from the video is very, very hard. But getting the link to the video, let's say you embed YouTube videos in your blog, or there's a blog that's with embedded YouTube videos, you can get the YouTube videos, the link to the YouTube video out, yes.
With the metadata of the videos, can you work with that?
Yeah, probably, yes. So you can take the link and get the metadata as well. And then you already know sort of things like the link, and then you can go to the YouTube page and take out the titles. This is a little more complicated, and I would probably use Refine for this, or find someone to write me a custom script. But this is definitely possible. I think if there are more questions, but I think you want to wrap it so we get out in time.
Sí, es que a las 6 tenemos de salir, que cierren el auditorio. Desafortunadamente nos alargamos mucho, pero Matthew está listo para presentarles cómo trabajar en mobile, en desarrollo. Y mañana, Manuel Canales pasa para mañana. Y mañana voy a intentar que todos sean dentro del espacio de tiempo que les demos. Mañana, no, ahora tenemos Matthew. Y mañana iniciamos a las 8, sharpísima. Porque, gracias, Michael.
Thank you. And if you have further questions, I'm around today, I'm around tomorrow. Find me and talk to me, okay?